Comparison of health-related qualities of Korean elderly men and women. Dr. Youngju Ji, Dr. Samsuk Kim. Introduction. The aging of society made the quality of life in elderly to be an important issue. The quality of life, a subjective satisfaction with overall experience or situation in life, is a concept in geriology incorporating expectation, judgment, and concern related to life. The previous studies on the quality of life in elderly shown that the associated variables include sex, age, education level, and financial status. The variables affecting mental health include stress, and those affecting physical health status include subjective health status, body mass index, number of chronic diseases, and presence of movement limitation. The previous studies on the quality of life of elderly by their sex showed that the quality of life is lower in women compared to men, and that their influencing factors of quality of life are also varied according to their sex. The purpose of this study was, accordingly, to compare the influencing factors of quality of life in elderly men and women over 65 years old and analyze the focus of intervention for improvement in their quality of life using raw data from the 7th National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey (NHNES). Method. This descriptive survey study was to analyze the raw data from the 7th NHNES indirectly to compare the influencing factors of quality of life in elderly men and women over 65 years old. From the 192 sample survey district included in the 7th NHNES, after excluding facilities such as nursing homes, military facilities, prisons, and foreign households, appropriate households were determined, and among which 23 sample households were selected using the systemic sampling method. All the members of the selected household who are over 1 year old and meet the requirements of appropriate household members were included in the analysis. Of the total 8,127 data from subjects aged 65 years or older were selected for the purpose of this study. The data in which the variables used in this study such as age, education level, quality of life, economic activity status, subjective health status, subjective perception of body image, average daily sleep time during weekdays, perceived level of user stress, presence of depressed feeling for 2 consecutive weeks, level of dietary life, number of diagnosed diseases, and health management were omitted. Non-responded were excluded, resulting in 599 and 785 data of men and women, respectively. The questionnaires used in this study was designed to measure general characteristics, age, level of education, economic activity status, subjective health status, and subjective perception of body image, average daily sleep time during weekdays, perceived stress level in daily life, presence of depressed feeling for 2 consecutive weeks, quality of life, level of dietary life, number of diagnosed diseases, and health management. The average sleep time during weekdays was calculated in minutes using the time of going to bed and waking up. The level of user stress indicates the degree of feeling stress in everyday life. The presence of depressed feeling for 2 consecutive weeks were measured using the responses yes or no for the question of, did you experience the depressed feeling for 2 consecutive weeks? The diseases included in the number of diagnosed diseases were hypertension, dyslipidemia, stroke, myocardial infarction, and angina, arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, osteoporosis, pulmonary tuberculosis, asthma, diabetes, thyroid disease, stomach cancer, liver cancer, colorectal cancer, lung cancer, thyroid cancer, depression, atopic dermatitis, allergic rhinitis, sinusitis, otitis media, cataract, glaucoma, macular degeneration, renal failure, hepatitis B, hepatitis C, and liver cirrhosis. The health management were measured by adding the presence of influenza vaccination, health examination, and cancer screening. The general characteristics: average daily sleep time during weekdays, perceived level of user stress, presence of depressed feeling for 2 consecutive weeks, quality of life, level of dietary life, number of diagnosed diseases, and health management of subjects were analyzed using the descriptive statistics. The associations among health-related variables analyzed using the Pearson's correlation coefficient and the influencing factors of the quality of life were analyzed using multiple regression. Conclusion: this study is a descriptive survey want to analyze the raw data from the 7th and 8th NES indirectly to compare the influencing factors of quality of life in elderly men and women over 65 years old. The results showed that the average scores of quality of life are 0.91 plus or minus 0.13 or 0.85 plus or minus 0.17 in elderly men and women, respectively. It was shown that the influencing factors of elderly men included age, subjective health status, perceived stress level in daily life, presence of depressed feeling for 2 consecutive weeks, and health management, accounting for 25.1% of the variance, and that those in elderly women were age, subjective health status, level of education, perceived stress level in daily life, presence of depressed feeling for 2 consecutive weeks, and the number of diagnosed diseases, accounting 28.9% of the variance. These results suggested that the sex of elderly should be considered in developing the contents and organization of intervention for improvement in quality life of them. This study has a limitation in generalization of the results since it is a secondary analysis of existing national data. The replicate studies are recommended to validate these results by expanding the subjects and scope.